All right, guys, so we're going to mess around a little bit more with arrays. So I want to look at nesting, concatenating, and the spread operator, and a couple other things. So nesting an array it's basically just having an array as an index inside of another array. So let's go ahead and create two separate arrays here. I'm going to call this one fruits, and we'll put in here apple, pear, and let's do orange. All right, so that's our first one, and then we'll do berries. And yes, I know berries are fruits. So let's say strawberry and blueberry and raspberry. So we have two separate arrays. Now, if I wanted to, I could take fruits, and we looked at the push method in the last video, which will add something onto an array. And let's say we want to add on the berries array. And then we'll go ahead and console log fruits, and let's see what we get. So we get an array with 4 items. The first 3 are apple, pear, and orange, and then we added berries, which is another array. So we have an array within an array. So that's how we can nest them. And you can go as many levels as you want. Now, to access something in a nested array is pretty easy. Basically, we can, let's set this to an output variable. So I'll say let x, and then let's log x, and we'll say x is equal to, and then fruits, and let's say I want to get blueberry, which is nested in the nested array. So first of all, I want the 3 index, right? Because it's 0, 1, 2, and then we pushed on as the 3 index the whole berries array. If I just log that, what I get is the nested array. If I want to get blueberry, that's going to be the 1 index on the nested array, so I would just open another set of brackets and then put a 1, and that will give me blueberry. All right, now let's say I wanted to create a whole new array called all fruits, and I want to nest both fruits and berries, and we'll just set x. For now, we'll just set it to all fruits just so we can log it out. And it's an array with 2 items, and both items are arrays. Okay, so we just nested those 2 arrays. And if I wanted to access, let's say, strawberry, I would say all fruits, and I want the second array, which is at the 1 index, and then I want the first item in that array, which is at the 0 index. Save that, and we get strawberry. All right, so hopefully that just helps you understand that you can nest arrays inside of arrays, as many levels as you want. If I had a 3rd level, I could then access, something within that, so you can nest as far as you want. Now, that's nesting. We can also concat arrays, which is different. It's not putting the array inside the array, but it's taking the items from one array and basically adding them into a different array, okay, as separate items on the same level. So to do that, we can use the concat method. There's actually a few ways to do it, but concat is one of them. So I can say fruits, and let's say we want to do dot concat. Actually, let's comment this out because I want these to be 2 separate arrays again. And yeah, then the rest doesn't really matter. Comment that out as well. All right, so I want to take fruits, and then I'm going to concat onto that berries. And let's save that, and what we get is one single array that has everything from fruits and then everything from berries. So the berries here, they're not put in as an array, a nested array. They're just put in alongside of the rest of the fruits. So they're concatenated. Just like we concatenate strings with the plus sign, we can concatenate array items using this method. Now, that's one way of doing it. The other is using the spread operator. And I'll have comments throughout this. I know I've said that a bunch of times. I just don't want to take the time to write comments for everything. So the spread operator, which is represented as 3 dots, And this can be used with arrays as well as objects. In fact, you'll probably use it more with objects, and I'll show you how to do that later. But basically what we can do is, let's say we want X, and instead of using concat, what I could do, basically what we did here was we created an array and then we put two arrays inside of it. Well, let's say I just want the items that are in fruits and berries, not the actual array itself. Then we would use the spread operator with fruits and then the spread operator with berries. And now I'm going to log X, which is this right here, and we get the same exact result that we got with concat. It just took the items from both arrays and put them, basically combined them. All right, if I took the spread off of berries and I save, now berries is going to be an array. All right, but there's going to be a lot of times where you want to take something from one array and spread those items across inside of another array. So that's where the spread operator comes in. And same thing with objects, but I'll get to that in a little bit. Now, there's also a method we can use to flatten arrays. And what I mean by that is, if we have an array that has nested arrays, let's do this 1, 2, and then I'll have another array in here with 3 and 4, and then we'll do 5, and then let's do another array with 6 and 7, and then 8. All right, so I have some nested arrays in here. All right, if I set if I console log array, then you can see we have two nested arrays in here. Now let's say I want to flatten this and just make it all one array that has 1 through 8. For that, let's say X equals, and we can do array.flat. And now if I log X and I save that, you'll see now we just have a single array with 1 through 8. So it just flatten this. There's no more nested arrays. All right, so that's pretty much it for some of the methods on the array itself. Now I want to show you some static methods that are on the actual array object. Let me just put a comment in here. We'll say static methods on array object. And what I mean is, if we say capital A array and then dot, there's some methods we can use. The first one I want to show you is array. So what this does is it checks to see if something is an array, and I'm just going to set this to X. So let's say is array, and we'll pass in fruits. And if I console log X, we're going to see true, because yes, fruits is an array up here. If I were to pass in like a string, then we're going to get false. So there will be some times where you have data structures that might act like arrays but aren't quite, especially when you get into like the DOM. There's like HTML collections and things like that where you want to check to see if it's an actual array, and this is how you can do it. So that is array. The next one I want to show you is from, which will create an array from an array-like value. So if I say X equals and then array dot from, and this, again, this is pretty useful when it comes to like HTML collections or node lists or whatever. But let's put in here a string of 1 through 5, and let's see what that gives us. What it gives us is an array, so it takes this string of 1 through 5 and gives us an array that has 1 through 5 as an element. Okay, so that's from. And then we also have array.of, which will create an array from a set of values. So maybe you have some variables where you want the values to all be inside of an array. So I'll just do this. Const A equals 1, B equals 2, C equals 3, and then I could say X equals array dot of, and then we can pass in here A, B, and C. If I save that, it's going to give us an array with 1, 2, 3. So basically just an array of the values of these variables. And I know this might be a little advanced for right now. You might not be able to kind of visualize what you would use this for yet, but I just wanted to throw some of this stuff in here. So in the next video, I want to test your knowledge, or test what we've gone over with a couple fairly simple array challenges.